Okay, so I saw somebody's tweet asking for um how does webhooks work. So in my bid to explain how webhooks work, I wrote a short article on my dev to explaining how webhooks work. However, I think I should show something practical about this. So I've logged into my Flutterwave dashboard. I'm a merchant here. So I'll go to settings. You see, I have API keys. I'm not showing you that. Yeah, sure. So, but let's go to webhooks now. Webhooks for Arbeit. That's the name of my merchant. That's my merchant's name. You can't see everything because I'm mobile. Yeah, but you can slide. You see, there's nothing much left. So let's just focus on this screen. So, in that article that I mentioned, I said you're going to provide a URL. This is the URL. If it is your own site now, if you have your own backend, you have your own server that you want to speak to, that you want Flutter with to call, you can just do something like HTTPS. As a backend developer, you must be able to build APIs. So if you are able to build APIs, so Flutter, let's say flut dot my server dot com slash events. Anything you can make it anything, but it has to be a post request. This is going to be a post request to this endpoint. So when you are listening on your own server, you must enable a post method for it. This secret hash is for you to confirm that is this actually coming from Flutterwave. You know, Anybody that have access to this link might also want to game your system and send the post request to it as if it was from Flutterwave. So, however, if you set a password here, you use this secret hash to have access. You'll be checking this secret hash whenever you have a call to this URL. Do you get it? So in your code, whenever you have a call to this URL with the post, you will be checking that okay, is it the same secret hash that you put that you are receiving? So if you want to save, you save. So look at the preferences here. They said receive webhook response in JSON format. That means what's the body type? The body type will be JSON. You get instead of what other one do we have? Uh, we have this URL encoded format. So, but they are saying this one. If you tick this, it is in JSON format. So I don't know the format it will come if you don't tick it, but I also prefer JSON format. Enable webhook retries. Now, something about webhook is when they call this and you receive it, you are meant to give a response of 200 that you have received it. So whatever calculation you want to do should just be after you have sent the response. So let Flutterwave for any server that is calling a webhook release them and be great. However, if they don't receive a 200 response, this tick is telling them to retry till they get a 200 response. I think they'll keep retrying maybe for 24 hours. If you read the doc, you'll see better explanation on how they do their own retries. So enable webhook retry. So if they don't get a 200 response on the first or any call, they are going to retry till they get 200 until maybe after 5 days or 48 hours, depending on whatever. So this is another preference asking enable webhook for failed transactions. Like in that article, I said when a payment is being made, that's a successful transaction. Send me a webhook. That means call my link, call my endpoint. But what if somebody tries to pay me, but it failed? Maybe their card, maybe their transfer failed. So I might still have interest in it, like to tell the person on their own dashboard that I understand that you are trying to pay, but that payment failed. So they don't be thinking that the payment went through. So for failed transactions, I might still want to, all these things are events. Instead of you coming to your dashboard here, trying to see, okay, if you go to the main menu now, trying to see what has actually happened, instead of you coming yourself. So this is a kind of automation that happens. So if you say enable web for a transaction, so they want you see, okay, this is my own code, this is my own URL. So you can actually provide a separate endpoint for free transactions. You can actually say something something. Let me copy this. Copy. You can actually, depends on you. You can use the same thing, success. You can use the same thing, and you might not use the same thing. You can say failed. Depends. You can just use events and stop there. Depending on how you are configuring your own. Depends. Uh, you are the driver of it. You are the developer. So if you enable V3 webhooks, that's another version of Flutter with webhook. But the point is, when an event happens, what do you want? You want to be automatically notified. You want, it's like servers speaking to servers now. You want your own one Flutter hook server, Flutter Wave webhook, or Flutter Wave server to be speaking to your own server. So instead of you checking manually or pulling, there is a, I think it was a paystack. There is a way that you can actually be calling their own API to confirm the status of a transaction. So instead of you asking Flutter for the state of the transaction with your own server, which is which is intensive, you'll be calling. So they can just tell you whenever it happens. These are event based. So let's have a brief of developer docs. Let's see how it looks like. Oh yeah, okay. You see, um, let's scroll down to webhooks. There should be webhooks. There should be webhooks. Okay, they don't have a separate. Okay, let's look at transfers now. I was thinking they have a webhook for. Okay, let me search. Find the page. Okay, so checking the details of a transfer. If you have a webhook enabled, you see, you will we will call your webhook URL with the transfer details. That's what I explained in my article. When transfer is completed or fails, you see, that's it. So they are going to send you the details of the payment. So it doesn't have to be about payments. You might be on like now we have Zoho. If you check Zoho now, if you check Zoho mail, they have they also have webhook. Let me see. Zoho webbook is going to, this is up here. They also use webbook, but configuring webhooks. Look at this. If you look at this, configuring webhooks. So whenever you receive an email or that contains a particular keyword, they are going to send you a webbook, depending on what you set. See, there are a lot. So points to remember. How does it work? You see, see. If you look at this image now, if you can look at it, let's preview the image. You see how you see now, incoming webhooks, you have to provide, they did not show something here. You have to provide an endpoint where they are going to call you. So that's just how webhooks works generally. You provide an endpoint. That endpoint is like your own ear that you use to listen. So when something happen on a server, they are just going to call you and say, okay, this thing has happened. So whatever decision you want to make with that event, you make it. All right. I hope you enjoyed this. Bye.